Alrighty, time for the music bed. Boom. We have so much to talk about today, Jimmy.
We do. Did something happen this weekend?
A couple things did. All right, and there we have it. Welcome back, everybody, to another King of the Court episode. This is, what is today? Wednesday, June 21st?
First day of summer.
First day of summer, which is always weird to me how
Of summer.
that happens.
Yeah.
We have so much to talk about. I feel like we say that every week.
You think? I think this is going to be our shortest podcast yet.
You were telling me we might need to do like a 3 or 4 hour episode.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if we split it up into a couple different parts or we just send it.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready. Professor Jimmy has stuff to talk about.
Professor Jimmy.
Real quick, let's get into our sponsorships. We are very appreciative towards these sponsors because without them, we would not be able to produce these shows. So thank you for them. Check them out. Our first one is The Pickler Shop. Who is The Pickler Shop, Jimmy?
Pickler Shop, the best, maybe not the large, well, they might be the largest now, online retailer of all your pickleball needs. Paddles, balls. Also, they actually sell pickleball specific clothing.
They do.
As well. Anything you need. Bags, like I said, balls, paddles, overgrips. I mean, literally anything. They even have like some training devices on there. I've seen like the Pickler Shop is the place for anything that you need. Check it out.
Your one-stop shop for everything
Yes.
related to pickleball.
Use code
Ambassador to check it out. Our next one is Mod Balls.
Yes.
These guys right here. I keep getting these email notifications of you guys trying it out, and I love seeing it because it's such a good product. It's going to give you energy, and it's going to fill you up throughout the day. Modballs, modballs.com. Use code LOONG, L-O-O-N-G 10 to save yourself a little bit of money. We're going to get a new code for this show specifically, but for now it's L-O-O-N-G 10. At modballs.com. Check them out. They're great for everything pickleball related, basketball, football, soccer, just carrying yourself throughout the day. You're going to enjoy it.
Yes. I love Mod Balls. Honestly, I've said this before. I'm a big fan.
I actually don't like this flavor all that much. The other one's better, but this is the only one that I had left. So we're going to leave it out right here. And then we have another sponsor. They're coming in hot.
Sponsor time.
And literally, Jimmy, what happened?
I literally picked up this package off of the porch as we started the pod.
About 5 minutes ago, I got a knock on the door, and apparently we had a package outside, and it is this new pickleball company. They're called Crown Pickleball. They love this show, and so they're supporting us.
And doesn't it make sense that Crown would support King of the Court? I mean, it just kind of goes together.
Should we get one of those hats that we can wear?
Yeah, I'll get a Burger King. Oh, Burger King's went out of business, didn't they? I'll get a Burger King crown.
Okay. Crown Pickleball, check them out. They are innovating all kinds of things for the sport of pickleball, starting with professional grade pickleballs. These balls are exactly what you're expecting: high performance, spin, and durability. I love this color. Personally, I think most balls should switch to this color because it is easier to see in almost all settings. These balls rarely crack. They fly straight and hold shape at all temperatures. One of the really good things about this is, what do you think a 3-pack normally costs, Jimmy?
Of balls?
Of balls.
I think you're probably around $12 or so, I would say. Plus, I mean, if you get them shipped.
Have you been doing some research?
Oh, I'm a huge ball guy.
Okay, so he nailed it.
Let's not cut that up and make it.
Most of the time, balls are around $12.99, $11.99. These come in at $8.99 for a 3-pack.
Done.
Plus, if you use our code KOTC, King of the Court, at checkout, you get free shipping. So super cheap.
Yeah.
These balls are going to last longer. They hold their shape. Try them out.
Try them. Hey, also, I'll tell you, they feel like a dirt. They're hard. So I love that.
Also, check them out on Instagram and social media.
Yeah. Pumped.
We're going to use these balls this week, and
yeah, I think pickleball innovation is huge. We need that. We need innovation in the ball department for sure.
Anyways, thanks for our sponsors, and time to get to the show.
Can I wear this and play with this? Like, I could be that guy.
I know some players that do that.
I could be that guy. With a white paddle.
All right.
Me and Hayden.
June 21st.
So, Tyler.
Epic weekend. Oh, actually, first, Jimmy. So you were telling people you're going to show up at MLP.
Oh my, am I getting called out? This is
And I kept getting texts. Is Jimmy here? Is Jimmy here? Is Jimmy here?
Listen, I didn't make it. I'm sorry. Real life.
The biggest fraudster out there.
Yes. Real life. Real life got in the way. I apologize.
I think he was afraid of too many people jumping in the parking lot.
That was part of it. All these players seem to be getting feisty lately with fans. So the last thing I wanted to do was be there. So yes, I apologize. I would say, let's see, what's the next? TOC is probably the next one. I mean, it's an hour away from our house. So come to TOC.
He's going to make up some excuse. I guarantee it.
It's an hour away. There's no reason to at this point. You're going to pick me up on your way up there and I'm going to ride with you. I'm going to sleep in the back of the car because nobody really wants to go to Brigham City, but
So yeah, yes. We have a massive tournament there. All right, yeah. So Jimmy, he lied to everybody. I really did have so many people coming up to me and say, "Is Jimmy coming? Is Jimmy coming?" And of course, I had to break the news that he was not
you're
coming.
The king of the court. It's your podcast. Like, just come watch you play. Don't worry about me.
They wanted you there, though, Jimmy.
I know. That's because they wanted someone to talk shit on everybody else.
Exactly.
So, dude, let's talk about MLP. So I obviously watched every single match. Okay. Let's start just real quick with Challenger. Okay. With Challenger. And I know you didn't even after the final or after the semis, they're like, are you going to stay and watch, see who you're going to play? You're like, maybe on the live stream. Yeah. Which is why Cameron did not interview you again. That's the last thing they want to hear, Tyler.
Well, I don't know what to say to that. What would you have said?
I would have said, yeah, absolutely. Or, just, I don't know, but not maybe on the live stream. You can't say stuff like that, dude.
I don't know why that would be considered bad.
Because it's a huge event. Like if the pros aren't going to watch it, who is?
Yeah, but you don't want to be watching your opponent in person, do you?
Say, yeah, I'm going to sit right behind their bench and I'm going to heckle them.
Does LeBron James go to his opponent's games right before?
It's a different. They don't play right before in the same venue. But
all right, continuing.
Anyways, point is, okay. So let's start Challenger. Okay, Challenger League. I'm going to be really, really honest about Challenger. Weird, I know. The level of play in the Challenger League is so night and day different than the level of play in the Premier League.
How so?
It's bad. It's not great pickleball. Okay. I think that there's players in the Challenger League that I think are good enough to play, obviously, in the Premier League. And there's players in the Premier League, Eric Lang, that should be in the Challenger League. Okay? But
I'm playing with Eric in Seattle.
That sucks for you. But I think that the Challenger League, it's just not up to par. I mean, it's almost a minor league. I guess that's what it's supposed to be. And it just wasn't as exciting. It wasn't as fun to watch. I think that there was so many errors. There's errors in every pickleball match, but it just the level of play wasn't up to par. Anytime Christian Alshon can make a finals, it's clearly not great pickleball. So
I'm also playing with him in another tournament.
You are not.
I am.
Tyler, no.
I love Christian.
You are really playing with him?
I am. I think so.
Tyler, that's everything that goes against what we believe in on this podcast.
We're going to do great.
Did you ask him or did he ask you?
I'm not going to say who reached out to who, but we just agreed to a tournament coming up in the next few months.
So he doesn't watch the pod.
Oh, I'm sure he's seen the pod. He doesn't care.
He's the tweener king.
He's the tweener king on all social media. He changed it officially.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if we can do this together anymore. I'm out for hire if anybody's looking for a chubby co-host.
Oh boy.
Okay. Anyways, I just didn't feel like the Challenger was great. I think that it was.
Did you watch the finals?
Yeah, the finals were actually good. It was better.
I was watching the Dream Breaker from a distance, and I watched when the Bay Breakers were up, I believe 17-14 or maybe 17-15.
Yeah.
And I said, they got it for sure.
Yeah.
And I left to go do something, and then I turn around, and it's 17-19.
Yeah, they came back. Yeah, I mean, it was, I think that there's something to King of the Court karma. Mm-hmm. If we mention you on our podcast or we talk about you, good or bad, You play better. So Jilly B, you're welcome. Jilly B ends up winning MVP. MVP. She stepped up. I mean, congrats to them. They won. She actually, I will give her this. She played well. She looked pretty good.
Who was she playing mixed doubles with mostly? De La Rosa
De La Rosa, and then Getcheva. How do you say it?
Krista Getcheva.
Krista Getcheva, who, by the way, has a GoFundMe if you want to help the animals. She literally posted every single day.
Have you not donated yet?
No, I haven't donated yet, but she did message me and say that she likes she's a fan of yours, and also probably me. I'm sure she meant me. And her goal is to win Premier League MVP someday. So shoot for the stars.
Krista or Jill?
Krista.
Okay, let's go, Krista.
Krista's. She wants to be MLP MVP.
Okay.
Premier League.
Love it.
Yeah. So
great goals.
Anyways, yeah, they looked good. I don't know. Just the challenger was rough. I'll be honest. I think that there's probably in the next season how I'm sure people understand how it works, but basically what happens is you guys completely redraft and all the challenger teams flip and become premier teams.
Yes, for this next season.
And then in 2024 they do the whole relegation thing where the top 12 go premier, bottom 12 go challenger. But the players are all redrafted. And I think Jilly B has a chance, truthfully, unfortunately, to make the Premier League. Pablo is 100% going to be a Premier League player. And then, honestly, who else makes that jump? And if you put somebody in Premier League, from Challenger into Premier, you've got to take somebody out of Premier. So who are those guys? Is it Eric Lang? Sorry, Seattle partner. Is it Kyle Yates?
Yeah, tough for me to say.
Yeah.
I think there's probably 2 to 3 players that a lot of players kind of agree on that might be dropping out of Premier.
Yeah. Somebody told me they think that Ben Newell deserves to be in Premier from Challenger. A pro.
Yeah.
Who
is this pro?
I don't want to say, but I also know that there's Lucy and Matt are probably not playing season 2.
That's what they said, but Matt had a great run, and when you have a good run and you're on a good team, it's fun. It's when you're not on a good team it gets a little bit more difficult. And so since they just had a great team, they made it to the semis, right?
Semis. So anyway, Challenger League, it is what it is. It's the minor league. I think, you would look at it, the views, the difference in the views on YouTube between MLP and PPA is wild. At some point during Challenger matches, there was 800, 900, maybe up to 1,600 people watching on YouTube, where PPA matches, there's, a few thousand always. So I thought that was kind of a weird contrast that there's, especially the Challenger, there wasn't as many people watching.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Premier League is what everybody cares about. Premier League is where the top 48 players in all of pickleball are playing.
There's a pretty significant price difference between the
So what did the Challenger League? Do you know what they won?
I actually thought the Challenger, the Super Final, if you're referring to that, the Super Final actually wasn't too bad. I believe it was around $7,500 per person, which is not bad. No. But I believe the runner-ups was probably $3,000, if that, around there. But that was for the Super Final.
So hopefully they did some clinics between those.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's not great. So and then you got the trophy. Stupid. Sorry, Brooks, commissioner. You follow me on Twitter. We're homies. That trophy is stupid. It looks like a freaking plate that came from Home Goods. Literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Let's get something else. And it's small. How do you have these big, massive cups, these big trophies for the PPA or for, and then the freaking super finals is your grandma's plate that came out of her china cabinet. Let's get something else. Okay.
I actually didn't even see see what it looked like.
Because you were out of there. That was the other thing. I was
gone.
We'll talk about that too in a minute. But okay, so Premier League.
9-day difference between Premier and Challenger.
Yes. The level of play is
next draft, FYI, is, I believe, on July 11th or 12th in New York City, and it's very close. No, I wanted to, but it's very limited. I heard that only each team is allowed to send up to 3 representatives. They're just keeping it really closed.
Hey, Richie, let me be the GM of the Black Bears, please. Let me take care of this. Do you want to win? Let me take care of this. Okay? Any
All right.
any team. I'm open for hire. Any GM. I watch more pickleball than anybody. I can do this.
You got to get to the venue though. That might be an issue for you.
I can.
Somebody who says he'll be there and then flakes out.
I'll zoom in on the draft. Okay. Anyways, Premier League. So Premier League was interesting because I think the Mashers have had a really rough season. Okay, they haven't been great. They made that trade, DJ Young for Matt Wright, and they end up making it to. They end up not only making it to the finals of San Clemente, but they got a bye.
Semis.
The semis, but they got a bye.
Yeah, they were the winners in their group.
Yeah, because once the fives lost, so it ended up being Florida Smash, the Mashers, the Fives, ATX, Mad Drops, and you guys.
Yep.
And you and the Mashers got the bye. And then Smash played the Fives, and ATX played Mad Drops and upset the Mad Drops, right? Is that the way it went? I don't know.
I think you're getting a little confused there.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. So real quick, Florida Smash. Let's talk about the Smash for a second. So that's Travis Rettenmeyer's team. Okay. Travis is an absolute tool. Let's just call it what it is. This is a guy that bought an MLP team. Okay. Bought one himself. And not only did he buy it, okay, let me ask you a question. Not only did he buy his own team, but he drafted himself in the third round because he was worried he was so good, somebody else was going to draft him. Why would you, do you think anybody would truly, first of all, he's not good enough anyways, but do you think somebody would really draft him and be like, oh, you own a team, so I'm going to pick you so you can't play on your own team? So he took himself in the third round. How big of an ego do you have to draft yourself that high? I mean, that's wild. So now what happens next year when the Smash become a challenger team, right?
NML, they did an article, and I think they talked about this. I didn't read it, but they said stuff about that, so I figured they're talking about that correlation.
Yeah. I mean, is he going to be is he going to put himself on a challenger team?
I don't know. That's an interesting situation. The only thing I'll say right now is with MLP, I mean, truth be told, a lot of the winning is just pride at the moment. There's no real incentive, prize money incentive for the owners of the MLP team. Yeah. They're not getting any money. It's just for the players at the moment.
They got to be losing money.
Most of them are losing money, exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's no real incentive for teams to win it other than pride.
Well, and they get to play in that ML Palooza, which was also terrible to watch.
James Blake was baller.
James Blake can play.
I watched him for a little bit, and he was, I don't know if he plays regularly or anything like that, but he was good.
Yeah, are you surprised that he's good?
Yes.
Really?
I was, yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Look at these other tennis players.
Sam
Rubin.
Sam Querrey.
Agassi, Querrey.
Yeah, Querrey sucks. Rubin sucks. James Blake is better than all of them. You're right.
Yeah.
I think in fact, I think James Blake, if he focused on it, he could be a pretty decent player.
Yeah.
I'm not Sam Querrey. Did you know he ran out of time about being a top 10 pro? He already passed that. But I think James Blake could be like a solid, good player. Yeah. He looked good.
Anyways, back to that. I have no idea what will happen. I was thinking about that too. I mean, that's a really weird situation to be in, and I don't know what teams would do. Like, would you feel comfortable drafting somebody that you know is a big owner in another team and that represents another team and is everything like that?
Yeah, I just thought that was weird. Anyways, I just thought it was weird that he drafted himself in the third round. Like, nobody was going to draft you anyways. That's why you bought a team, because you knew you weren't going to get drafted. So
yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I think it was definitely that. Now he's
gotten better. Yeah, I agree. Anyways, so the Smash ended up losing in the semis, in the quarters.
It was quarters. They lost to ATX, and then we ended up playing ATX right after that.
That's right. Yep. So J-Dub's team, and you guys played ATX.
Yep.
You guys beat ATX to get to the finals, and then the Fives, which is Annalie, Leah, James Ignatowicz, and Hayden, ended up playing, Milwaukee played the Fives.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yes. And then Milwaukee Mashers, which is Lucy, Matt Wright,
Callie, Lucy.
And wait, who's the other? Oh,
Lucy.
Deescu. Lucy and Deescu, yeah. Ended up playing Leia's team. And so Callie and Lucy got destroyed. Like they got absolutely, those Leia and Annalie came out and just wiped the floor with them. I mean, which is crazy because Callie and Lucy and Matt, those guys played really well before. They beat the Newmans, actually killed the Newmans. Big wins, come into the semis, and the women just got absolutely just smashed. But then Callie,
Florida smash.
well, smashed by the fives. And then Callie played really well in mixed. So they played that mixed match, and she played really well. And I think she was kind of feeling herself a little bit, like feeling pretty good. And so it goes to a Dream Breaker. This is what I thought was interesting. So they goes to a Dream Breaker, and Callie essentially calls out Annalie, saying she didn't call her out. She basically just said, I want Annalie.
Okay.
And
Do you know who put their lineup first?
I think the fives put their lineup first, and they got to react because Callie chose to play against Annalie.
Gotcha.
And it didn't look like Matt or Deescu or even Lucy were like okay with that.
They just went with
But
it.
they went with it because she was so adamant. And I think that Callie was kind of feeling herself after, because she did play really well in the mixed match to force the Dream Breaker. So I think that she was kind of feeling herself a little bit. And, you know, there's all that drama back and forth, right? Like Lucy blew Hayden a kiss. Hayden, like a freaking savage, caught it and like put it on his cheek. I mean, it was kind of funny. And then literally 2 points later, Hayden gets a blue card for telling Matt to go F himself. I mean, it was insane. It felt like it was all in good fun. Anyways, so she calls out Annalie, and I want to say that they played two rounds, and then the game point was on Callie, and I think Annalie beat her 9-1. And it's like, you can't call somebody out, Tyler. Like, if you're gonna call somebody out, you better freaking beat them. Like, or at least show up.
Yeah.
And she just got destroyed. I mean, the Masters ended up losing. Fives advance. You guys beat ATX, and you advanced against the fives.
Real quick, we had a pretty close one against ATX. A lot of people were talking about how close my match with Ben versus J-Dub and Gabe was. It was very close. I think they had maybe 2 match points. But I will say the previous time that we played ATX, I think they had 5 or 6 match points, and we had probably 3 or 4 match points as well. And so the match that we played them before earlier in the season in Mesa, that match was even closer.
Closer?
Yeah, that was way closer than this last one.
Did Gabe earn his spot on Premier League next year?
Ooh, that's tough. I think from his performance this last MLP, I would say yes. I would say the first 2 were a little bit iffy.
Mesa, Gabe and Hayden sucked. Like, they were terrible. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way to. I mean, they were just both.
Yeah, going off of those first 2, then they would probably be on that fence, I would think.
Yeah.
But given the performance of this last one, then Gabe's been doing really well lately.
Like, truthfully, had the fives beat you, Hayden might have been the MVP.
Yeah, and MVP is a weird term. Like, what does that mean? It means most valuable player, but is that the best one on the court? Is that the most improved person on the court? Is that the most impactful person on the court?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
I mean, obviously, the truth of the matter is if it's Ben Johns until somebody gets sick of it being Ben Johns.
Exactly. So, for example, in Daytona, when we won, he didn't get MVP.
Meg
Meg
got
did.
it, yeah.
And she played great, but I mean, Ben's still playing
Ben
rock
is
solid.
Ben, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you don't win it without Ben, and that you probably could have won it without Meg if you plugged in somebody.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm a little bit confused on.
Yeah.
On what MVP means. I mean, it means most valuable player. We know that, but
Yes.
how do they give
Jeez,
that?
Tyler, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I think that was a good match. Like, you guys had a close match.
Yeah.
But the women came out and just rolled.
The women played great in every single match except for maybe our last one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So anyways, you guys end up, beating ATX. It was close, but you guys, like I said, you guys pulled it out. So then you play the fives. And I think that
that was for the finals of MLP.
San Clemente.
I'm getting everything is meshing together because
Yes.
everything was
So that was for
so
the final.
recent.
So yes, so you played the fives in the San Clemente MLP finals.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it that. And so Leia and Annalie versus Meg and Etta. Okay, so that was the first match. And
I was a little bit nervous going into that match, to be honest.
yeah, of course, absolutely. But Meg and Etta played really well in that match. And then James Ignatowicz and Hayden versus you and Ben, right?
Yep.
In that match, I felt like Ben exposed Ignatowicz. I felt like he got exposed. Like, not that I don't think that James is a good player, but I felt like he got exposed. And I think that James has this weird reputation. He does this self-deprecation thing where he always kind of, like, his interviews are weird. He talks down on himself. He talks about this person carrying him. He talks about how he just shows up. But I actually think it messes with his confidence. I think that dude lacks, like, legitimate confidence in himself. And
After listening to this, he's going have a few words for you.
well, listen,
You're going to make his confidence worse.
I'm about to. But I think he lacks confidence. I think that he just, and then he gets down, and then he's one of those guys that he misses 2-3 points in a row and he checks out. He's out. And so, they ends up going to Dreambreaker, right? Dude, I got to be honest. Let's talk about this real quick. Don't be mad.
Okay.
You and Meg went 0-6.
We did, yeah.
What happened?
So there's a couple different theories or reasonings
I'm just
behind
curious.
it.
Yeah.
Up until this last tournament, we were probably 80 to 90% win rate. We were great.
You were top 5. I saw it. That Josh Gartman posted it.
I mean, I don't want to make excuses. I think we just weren't gelling well. And then having the mindset of being up 2-0 and then Ben putting us as the first team, normally playing against their A team, and knowing that Ben was behind us playing to seal the deal. It was almost as if I don't want to say this, but it was almost as if it didn't really matter.
You could relax, yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a couple matches that we lost like 21-19, 22-20 or something
they're
like that.
They're all close.
But yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but it was just, we win as a team, we lose as a team. And so I knew that Ben and Etta were there to clean up. And so I'd rather take the win as a team rather than individually in our matches. So I was totally fine with that.
Well, and then you lost a match because you hit an overhead that hit the net. But you actually don't have enough power to do this, but the net does. And the net compressed the ball.
That was a comical point, yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second. So you smash an overhead.
So no, this was on defense, I believe. It was with Julian Arnold.
Yes.
Yep. And the ball had actually dented significantly, maybe like 30 to 40% inside the ball. And it was totally affecting the play, maybe 2 to 3 balls before the point had actually ended. I kept lobbing Julian. He kept hitting overheads, and he finally hit 1 or 2 overheads that the ball clearly dented, and we kept playing the point. And then maybe 2 or 3 balls after that, I ended up missing the ball. And I went to the ref and I said, hey, the ball's dented. Can we get a redo? Because it totally impacted the play. Maybe if we're using this ball,
Crown pickleballs.
it would not have dented. But the ref said no, because the ball dented when it hit the net, not during the play. And so I repeated what she said. I said, you're saying the ball dented when it hit the net?
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like,
they need to come out with a clear ruling on that, because what I was complaining about is the week before I had the exact situation where I had dented the ball because I did hit the overhead hard enough.
Yeah.
And the other team comes up and says the ball's dented, we need a redo. And they allowed that to happen. And then this time they didn't.
well, they should. If the ball is dented during the play.
Like literally it was at least 25% inside. Like this whole portion right here, if you can see that, is dented.
Yeah. So I was playing a tournament once. It's funny that you say this, and it was
Many years ago
when I used to play pickleball. Back in my day, I was playing this tournament, and it was actually match point. Okay, and it was 16-15. It was 16-15, and it was match point. It was I was playing against your boy Ryan Kaysen.
Okay, this was many years ago.
Many years ago. 16-15, and they hit a dink over the net, and as soon as they hit it, you heard the ball. The ball was almost dead anyways. You heard the ball crack, right? I mean, you literally heard it. The ball comes over the net, hits the kitchen line, and just dies. Doesn't even come up, doesn't bounce, nothing. Okay? Ryan's partner, I won't say his name because he still plays, but
Alex Lahoon, right?
No, gosh, no. I hope Alex is more fair than this. Comes over, pumped up, jumps up and down, fist pumps, game over. I was like, dude, the ball cracked. It cracked midpoint. Like, you can tell that it cracked. You can tell how the ball didn't come up. Ryan walks over, and in his defense, I will give him all the credit in the world. Ryan said, "You're right. It cracked midpoint. Let's replay it." His partner lost it. Literally, like, didn't want to replay the point. He was yelling. He was pissed off at us. And I was like, dude, it cracked midpoint. I think that's the only fair thing to do, right? Like, would you have replayed that? If it cracked midpoint and it affected...
Well, I mean, if it cracks, that's the rule. You have to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he lost it. He lost his mind. So anyways, we ended up winning the match. I think we took... So it was...
He was waiting for you in the parking lot after this match to actually jump
played
you.
with... I played with Johnny Rocket.
Okay.
John in this tournament. And this guy was just pissed. Like, he was so mad about it. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing else that we don't control it, right? Yes, we got really, really lucky. Granted, his dink was a little high. I was about to speed it up, put it away anyways. So I just saved him the inevitable. But point being, yes, if it cracks midpoint, replay it. Like, that's part of pickleball, right?
Yep.
We're playing with a wiffle ball. And so these things happen. It's not like a tennis ball. It's not like a baseball. It's not like a football. It's a freaking wiffle ball. And so these things are going to happen. And those are just things that throughout the course of a game are going to happen.
Regardless, I think they need to come out with a ruling because it seems, I don't know if his players are hitting harder, the paddles or what, but I've seen more balls getting dented and more deformed without cracking in the past 3 to 6 months than I have in my entire career.
Yeah,
it's happening way more frequently. And so they need to come out with a ruling, just say, hey, it has to crack, or they can say, hey, if it's dented, you can redo it. The only tough thing with if it is dented, you could claim a ball's dented almost any time.
That's the problem, right? You have people that are like, oh no, and they're like,
exactly,
they're like this, like
pushing it in,
like, oh look, it's dented.
Exactly, yeah. And so,
by the way, that was really hard to do. This is impressive.
Yeah, Crown Pickleball.
Crown.
Check them out. Agreed. Yeah. So that was a weird, unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
The ref. I think as soon as she said the net dented the ball, she realized how awful that sounded.
Yeah.
And she was almost trying to not smile.
I think my favorite part is that you kept repeating it almost to like give her a chance to correct herself. And also, just to let her know that it's ridiculous what she's saying. But I felt like
dented the ball.
I felt like you kept repeating that to her. Like, wait, you're really like like I think that you wanted to like give her a chance to correct herself.
And she stood by it.
No, she definitely stood by it. You needed Courtney Johnson for that match, clearly. So
she was right behind her though.
Yeah. So Courtney, step in next time, please. Yeah. Like, save the embarrassment of some of these refs. So anyways, so you guys end up going, back on track, you ended up going to that was against Julian.
That was Mad Drops, which we won 3-1.
Yep, which you won. In that one also, there was another controversy when you and Ben played against Julian and Game Point. Cross court dink ends up being called out. They replay it. Now the replay that we had...
Those are not good replays. The live streams are rarely good replays. Unless the ball is significantly in or clearly in by, I would honestly say, at least half an inch to an inch, then I would almost never go off the replays.
Yes, and the replay that we had, I will be 100% honest, it looked like the ball was out. It looked like Julian made the correct call. It did look out. It looked like you could see.
But there were two angles, and one of them looked more out, and then the other 100%. One actually looked... Maybe in.
Yes, and they said there's 8 other cameras that only the refs get to see. Nobody else gets to see them. In fact, I'm pretty sure Courtney Johnson got on one of the social media, Facebook, and said that there was other camera angles. I told her to release the footage, but she doesn't listen to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so then the next match, what I thought was funny is Julian, he wins his mixed match over you and Megan, and then the first thing he says is that the refs made a bad call and it was a horrible call.
Yeah.
And like starts going off about it. And number one, that's why nobody likes him. Okay. Like, you can't scream at people. You can't yell. You can't be that guy, Anyways. So then he ends up basically saying that the refs made a bad call. Like, okay, well, it's time to move on. You can't fix it. You can't change it. So you guys go to Dream Breaker with them and you beat him in the Dream Breaker.
No, we didn't go Dream Breaker.
Oh, no, you didn't go Dream Breaker. You beat him 3-1. That's right. That was the only match they won. The mixed one.
Yep.
Yeah, because Etta and Ben ended up winning the next.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think that either they need to, just for the fans' perspective, because oh my gosh, those chats were buzzing at that call. So I think that it would be nice if the fans could see the replay that the refs were looking at, just more from a.
I agree. And I was kind of conversing with somebody as well about this, but I was just almost defending what they were doing. I say this is somewhat normal in basketball and football, and I think in quite a few other sports, they don't show the footage that they're looking at necessarily.
They don't, but they usually have better. They don't show that. You're right, especially in baseball. Like baseball, you don't see it, but they have.
I do wish they would put it out there just to be more transparent, so people can see what they're looking at.
But they have better technology in those sports. So, like,
but to say that pickleball is the only sport that doesn't show it, that's incorrect.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
But they do have better technology, so most of the time the fans can see. But also, there's a lot of times in all of those sports where you're like, oh, that's a catch, or oh, he was out of bounds, and then they come back and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so, it wasn't like this isn't a pickleball specific thing. It happens in every single sport.
I will say, and I'd love to see that footage just to see what it looks like. We had maybe 5 or 6 challenges, and we were correct on every single one of them except for one.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And so the moral of the story is, if that ball is anywhere near the line with those cameras, play it, call it in.
So that's what I thought that was the one thing I thought was interesting is Julian. It was clearly, even with the camera angle that we had, was very, very, very close. And he literally just goes, oh, not that. He literally just catches it and then starts walking away. It was almost like he wasn't confident enough to finish the point, so he needed the out. And so he was just going to take that out any way that he could and just try and end the match. That was wild to me. So I just think when it's that close, I mean, maybe you do want to play it, but he seemed pretty confident it was out.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, obviously he was wrong because the cameras don't lie and it doesn't really matter what he thinks. And that's why people call him a whiny B word, but So anyways, it was, so you guys win that, you guys go play the 5s. Anyways, we talked about the 5s. This is the San Clemente finals. So then you go to Dream Breaker with them. Mm-hmm. And everybody felt like the 5s were the best built team for Dream Breakers. Mm-hmm. Like that.
On paper, they should be.
On paper, they should be because they have
literally the top 2
singles women.
And then
Ignatovic has got to be
10,
top 10. And then Hayden's no slouch at singles.
Yeah.
And so this is where
Ben's big brains come into play. His 10,000 IQ.
So Ben walks up. You guys get to react.
We get to react to their lineup.
So they set their lineup as James is 1, Annalie is 2, Hayden is 3, Leia is 4.
Correct.
That's their lineup. So Ben goes up, and Ben says, "I want James."
No, they put James first, then Ben reacts.
And then Ben reacts and says, "Okay, I'll go first against James." And then Annalie is second. So now you think, okay, this is where you throw, and this is my thought. This is why I'm not Ben Johns. This is where I throw in a sacrificial lamb. I'm like, okay, Annalie's 2. I'm going to throw Etta or Meg against her. They obviously don't play a lot of singles. I'd probably throw Etta against her, to be honest. She doesn't ever play singles. Mm-hmm. Throw in my sacrificial lamb. If Etta goes 3-1 against Annalie, lose a 3-1, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Anything against her is a win.
Yeah.
And instead, Ben says, nope, Tyler versus Annalie. You didn't know that.
I didn't know. I didn't care what the lineup was. I just wanted to play.
Yeah. But you had no clue that you were going to play her.
Yeah.
And then he goes Hayden against Megan, mm-hmm. and then Leia against Etta. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So Ben goes and beats James 4-0, I think.
I will say James in the Dream Breakers has not had much success. I don't know if it's nerves or he just hasn't been playing singles.
His confidence sucks. His confidence is bad.
He did not have much success in the Dream Breakers.
Yeah, his confidence is just it's so bad right now. It's wild. Okay, so you go. So I think Ben won 4-0. No, 3-1.
3-1 the first time.
3-1.
Yeah, so he missed the serve.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you play Annalie.
Mm-hmm. The crowd was loving it. They were 100%. They were stoked.
And we've talked about this on our show a million times. Where would she be ranked in men's singles? Mm-hmm. Is she that good? Is she, and everybody's like, oh, we should see Annalie against the men. She's killing the women. All these things. So everybody wanted to see it, right? I think they wanted to see her versus Ben. Mm-hmm. But the reality is everybody wanted to see it. Everybody was pumped up. And we've seen in past MLPs, Lee Whitwell getting points off of people. We've seen, some of the women getting points off of the men, and it's exciting. It makes it exciting. It makes it fun. Do you feel any different? Like, did you have, because it's lose for you, Tyler. Like if you smack her, that's what you're supposed to do. If you lose points, everybody's going to get pumped up. They're going to get fired up. Like you were in a lose situation. Did you feel any more amount of nerves in that?
Not really. I mean, I haven't been playing too much singles recently. I'm kind of slowly getting back into it. And so I was actually excited. I feel pretty good with my body, with the paddle and everything like that. So I was actually excited to play.
Yeah. So you beat her 4-0.
Yes, the first time. Yeah.
The first time. You end up beating her 4-0. And I'm just going to be really honest. So as the first point, you get her the first point. The second point, I believe
she missed the return.
She missed the return, and her face, like, it just went flush. I mean, you saw her shoulders slumped, her body language completely changed. And then on the fourth point, you hit a ball down the line past her, kind of a passing shot, that lefty forehand down the line. You literally painted the line. It was a gorgeous shot. And her soul left her body. She was so defeated after that. Like, and now it's 7-1.
We got a great start.
Yeah, you
the
had
best start you could ask for.
Yeah, and she looked just destroyed. And so then I don't know. I felt like, and at the start of that match, I mean, I remember she's standing in the baseline. She's jumping up and down. She's getting pumped up. She's almost trying to pump up the crowd.
Yeah.
And then it was like, in a matter of literally a minute and a half, she was done. And that whole team was done.
Yeah.
Because next goes
Meg comes out there.
Yeah, I think Meg goes.
And she gets the first 1 or 2 points, something like that.
Yeah, I think Meg ended up going 2-2. And then the very first point Etta has against Leia, she freaking keeps that front shoulder closed and rips the freaking forehand past her to start, like just for a winner. And I just felt like after that, you guys just kind of, I mean,
not going to lie, I was having a little bit of flashbacks because in our first MLP in Mesa, we played the Hustlers and we were in a Dream Breaker and we were up big on them too. We were up maybe 13-6 and they ended up coming back to win. And so that was the Lacey. I was saying this is not over until we get to 21.
That was the Lacey Schneeman clinic on Megan Dazan, unfortunately. But in Meg's defense, she went back and started playing singles and started figuring it out. Yeah. And
anyways, it was fun. Dream Breaker was fun.
So you guys end up winning. So you win the San Clemente MLP finals.
MLP finals, which it all feels like a blur. I mean,
but so there's MLP, there's Mesa, there's Daytona, there's San Clemente. You guys lost in the semis.
In Mesa.
You won Daytona.
Yep.
And then you won San Clemente.
Yes.
And then they take all those points and the two top teams from those three end up playing in the super finals, which is the following day. So you win San Clemente. You guys get, can I just $25,000 each? $20,000 each.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't even know.
They haven't Venmo'd you yet?
Not yet.
They haven't Venmo'd. No. Okay, well.
By the way, California takes 7% of all the prize money, no matter what. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Even you're not?
Tax purposes.
Oh, geez, stupid. Yeah. Okay, so you end up winning that. You guys celebrate. It was intense. Like I said, it went to a Dream Breaker. Yeah. It actually knocked the Fives out of the super finals. Had the Fives beat you, they would have been in the super finals.
Yes.
The next day. Everything's exciting. It's a huge deal. You guys go out, guaranteed Ben party that night. He looked like it the next day. And then you play the following Monday, the very next day. So you have this huge, this is my issue with this. You have this massive high, right? And then the next day, you play the super finals.
Less than 24 hours later.
Yes. So the super finals.
And that's the big money. That's the one you really want to win.
So super finals is $240,000 for the winners, $56,000 for the runner-up team. Yeah. Okay. Did you know that?
I didn't. Okay. What is that per person?
14,000.
Yeah, so something like that.
Yeah. So the Fives end up knocking out the Mad Drop because of you guys beat the Fives. The Mad Drops end up making the super finals. So now you guys are playing the Mad Drops, a team that you've already beaten twice.
A 3-0 and a 3-1.
Yes. So you beat them twice. It's the next day. I do feel like it's really hard to get up for another tournament again the very next day after, you just won, right?
Yeah. So
you turn around the next day, you play them. It's Thomas Wilson, Julian Arnold, Irina Tereshchenko, Catherine Parento. Okay. You guys, obviously, Megan, Etta, Ben Yu, right? It's on ESPN2. Packed house. They literally let people in for free. Volair, by the way, Volair was giving away, if you brought a Julian Arnold sign, you got a Volair paddle.
Yep.
Shows how much those are worth. And you guys come out. Everybody's pumped up. They like have, I swear Bruce Buffer seemed like he was there doing ring announcing. Everyone getting pumped up. They've got the pickleball chick. They got the lights. They got everything. It's all fired up. There's signs. You guys literally had no fans. I'm sorry. Mad Drops had a lot. We need more Pioneer fans.
Yeah.
And the women
A little bit flat, a little slow.
come out. I'll be really honest. Like I said, I love Meg. I love Etta, but they got their ass kicked. It was 21-6, Tyler. 21-6 in rally scoring. And they were missing shots they don't normally miss. They were missing dinks into the net. They were missing they were missing everything.
I think, yes, I agree with that. I think a lot of it had to do with fatigue. I mean, simply put, we didn't show up. But I think a couple of those reasons were fatigue. And then number two is this is the biggest match that anybody has played in pickleball. Anybody.
It was the biggest in
Biggest
history.
match that Ben has ever played in terms of prize money.
Yeah.
And so I think that got to everyone's head a little bit.
Yeah, it has to.
yeah.
Bro, I mean, $60,000 each on top of what you just won the day before. I mean, that's a year's for 90% of pickleball players.
Yeah.
Pro pickleball players. That's a year's worth of pay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so, so they came out really, really flat. I mean, and then it seemed like the worse they played, the more Irina and Catherine they did exactly what they're supposed to. They saw blood in the water and they just pressured. And they just kept coming at them. And before you know it, that match is over in a blink of an eye. But you have Ben Johns. He hasn't lost all weekend, literally undefeated. You and him have played really well together.
Yep.
So now you guys play Julian and Thomas. And you guys actually ended up going up on them. I think 18-16.
Yeah, we had a slight lead towards the end. I think we were down. We kept going back and forth, but yeah, towards the end of the match, we had a small lead.
So it was 18-16. It was a really good match. Julian's fist pumping, doing all his histrionics, his antics, all these things. And you guys ended up losing a close match. I do have to ask this though. Julian hit a drive at 19-19.
Yep.
Down the middle. Whose ball is that? It went untouched.
Yeah, it was a winner right down the middle. It could have been either. I haven't talked to Ben about this. I was covering down my line.
Yeah.
And I told Ben before the match, I said, hey, they're not really going down the line on you, like behind you. So be ready to poach those balls, take the middle, do a lot of that stuff. He hit a good shot, simply put. He hit a good shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to call anybody out. I was covering the line. I didn't even go for the ball.
No, you didn't even make an effort, which made me think that you expected Ben to take it.
Yeah.
Ben made like a half-hearted effort.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I think that was the turning point. We get that point that puts us up 20-18 or so.
Yeah.
2019, and then we end up serving, and so that
I
was
agree.
a really tough one to swallow.
And that changed. Not only did it change the score, but it changed the momentum.
Yeah.
Now they're all pumped up. So they end up winning that men's match. And then you go to mixed though. But again, you still have Ben and Etta, right? And, they're still undefeated on the weekend. I think I want to say that they're like 14-1 or something in mixed doubles together in MLP.
Yeah.
So you're still feeling a little bit of confidence. But I'll say this. The body language on the Pioneer sideline after the men lost was definitely down. I mean, you're down 2-0. It should be.
Yeah.
You and Meg didn't even look at each other.
Yeah.
Were you mad at her?
Not really. No.
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 You're good. You forgive easy.
Yeah. I normally forget things pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so then, and Ben and Etta. So, and usually you guys have been sending out you and Meg. This is what we talked about earlier. You guys have been sending the two of you out first because you have Ben and Etta behind you, and usually you have a 2-0 lead. But this time you had to switch it up.
Yeah.
You sent out Ben and Etta because you need that win.
I was actually feeling fairly confident just because we would have gone up against Irina and Thomas, and I think we've done really well against.
I think everybody felt that. I think everybody felt like as long as Ben and Etta beat Julian and Catherine, and and I just felt like Etta was still tight. She didn't play her best. She didn't play as well as she normally plays. And then I'll honestly, Ben didn't play great either. Ben was not Ben Johns. I'm surprised nobody's made a meme of it, but there's this picture or this video of Ben sitting on the bench after, and he's kind of got his hat halfway on his head and he's just staring off into space.
Yeah.
And it's not an image you see of Ben Johns very often, where he literally just looks, not only does he look defeated, but he has this look like, what the hell just happened? And yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, it just happens. Sometimes it's just not your day.
Yeah.
And that wasn't your day. And props to the Mad Drops. I mean,
No, they played really well. They played smart.
Julian played well. Irina is the MLP queen.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an eye roll. Whoa, Tyler, that was an eye roll.
Yeah. It's just frustrating because, I mean, we've played them 2 times and we've beaten them 3-0, 3-1.
Yeah.
Not all that close.
Yeah.
Second one was a little bit closer, but
Yeah. And Thomas
it's
just had heart surgery.
The one that they win is the one that they'll make more money than pretty much more money than we made throughout the MLP.
Yeah.
And then you have Meg complaining about the fatigue, just saying it's too soon, which I kind of agree. I mean, everything from this past week just blends together.
Yeah. So let me ask that. I mean, Meg feels like they should move the super finals to like July, draft weekend, and do the super finals then, and then have the draft and make it a big event.
Yeah.
Is that too long though? Is that a month and a half, a month later, too long?
I don't know. I mean, there's a couple different.
She clearly was fatigued. She said she's fatigued. She said it was too much. She was exhausted.
Well, not only that, but we had the PPA the week before, and most players just stayed there the entire time.
Yeah. So now you're not even sleeping in your own bed, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's just so much of a grind. I mean, you're traveling coach, you're renting cars, you're staying at hotels, you're eating at fast food restaurants. It's not ideal to be there for multiple weeks at a time.
Everybody eats fast food restaurants like you do?
And,
Where did you go? What was the spot this
Chick-fil-A.
weekend? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A.
They're not open on Sunday though.
I know.
That's so stupid. Sometimes on a Sunday, like 2:00 when you
Frosted lemonade.
Frosted lemonade. Yeah. Yes, you take your Sunday nap and you need a frosted lemonade.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyways, I mean, there's lots of excuses. I think in the end, we just simply weren't prepared for what they had to offer. They played great. If we play them again, I would hope
good about
and
it.
think
Like
that
you
we
think you
would.
beat them 7, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
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 I mean, like you said, props to them.
Before the season started, and I still stand by this, I mean, I truly believe if we're playing how we should win 95% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, and you do have the best team. Like it was obvious. You were the number 1 seed. You guys won 2 events.
And I think even after the super final, we ended this season as the number 1 team.
Yeah, the number 1 team. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so you had the most points. It was clear. So,
But I think for the super final moving forward, they should change the date or do something different, or B, change the format, because right now it's the exact same format as you normally play in pool play and tournament play.
Should there be something different? Like what? I think there should be
to 25 points per game, or
I like
do
that.
like 3 out of 5 or something like that.
Yes. Or you know what else would be sick? Like what's your other than obviously getting a chance to play for prize money, but what's your benefit for finishing the season number 1? Like
Exactly.
there should be some advantage,
Exactly.
right? Like number 1, maybe there's not a coin flip. Maybe you automatically get to choose. You win the coin flip as the 1 seed,
Yep.
and that might have helped, right?
Yep.
Being able to do things a little bit differently there, or I don't know. There's got to be some advantage for the number 1 team, and I think that. Like in golf, for example, right? In golf, they do the tour championship and they do points.
Yep.
And like the number 1 player in points starts at 10 under. And then the next guy's 8 and 6. And so when you you go into that, you have an advantage.
Yep.
You can't play an entire season, right? And you do all this hard work and all these things. And then you show up to the championship and it's like, oh yeah, congratulations.
Yep.
Now you're on an even playing field.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. There needs to be something there, some sort of advantage. I don't know what it is.
I just feel like, I mean, MLP makes it so intense, so fun for the spectators, everything like that. But almost every game minus the finals goes 21-19, 21-18, 22-20. It's very close. It's like you might as well just start at 16-16 if it only matters a couple points.
Yeah.
And so I think they should extend it to 25 points, because at 25 points, you can start getting a little bit of difference. The talent comes out on top, generally speaking. You'll still get some upsets here and there. but for the most part, the better team's going to win. But in a game to 21, I mean, I've said this before, like it's anyone's game. And I mean, you look at NBA, they do 4 out of 7 games, best 4 out of 7 games in the NBA finals.
To choose who the best team is.
To choose who the best team is.
Yeah, because anybody can get hot
If
in one
they
game.
just did best 1 game or best 2 out of 3, they would have so many upsets, which would be fun, but I don't think the better team would come out on top.
I don't know. I mean, you might be a little young for this, but
I'm young.
do you remember when the Sixers played the Lakers in the finals and Allen Iverson and the Sixers, okay? They had like Eric Snow and Aaron McKee and Matt Geiger. Like they were not a good team. The East was terrible. The Lakers had Shaq. They had Kobe, right? They were absolutely stacked. And the Sixers take game 1 off of them.
Yeah.
In MLP, it's over. Sixers win. They're NBA champs.
Exactly.
Even though, but in the NBA, the Lakers end up winning the next 4. They beat them by 30 points. I mean, they just blew them out.
So for the super final, I think they need to do something different, increase the amount of points, go to 25, 30, or do more games or something like that.
But maybe that would be the cool thing that the first place team gets to choose. Like that's their decision. Yeah. What if your advantage is you could choose rally scoring or like that's your advantage or traditional. That's your advantage. You get to choose that.
Yeah. The better team would for sure choose traditional.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be sick though? Like that's your choice.
Yeah. And choose what paddle your opponents play with.
Oh
too.
yeah. They pull out these wood like amazing aces. Like here you go. Yeah. That's crazy.
Anyways, MLP was nuts. It's very fun for the fans.
By the way, MLP proves what we said last week. We said it in our, by the way, we premiere these pods, so get on when we premiere them, we'll let you guys know. But in the chat, we asked if people would be willing to pay just for spectator events.
I was shocked. At how many spectators there were at this event.
There's no amateur events
going on. There was no amateur
on.
events, and parking was worse than PPA parking.
Yeah,
and so PPA had the amateurs there.
Yeah, and it was able to be every single day it was full.
Yeah.
And so, I think that proves that
people... And they had multiple grandstand courts going on.
Yeah.
And there were multiple people there. There was 100 to 200 people at most of the side courts.
Yeah. So I think that proves that it can be a spectator sport only if they decide to go that route, that there's enough fans. So just real quick, the only thing I want to say, I'm so confused sometimes about pickleball players, okay, about these pro players.
Let's hear it.
I just kind of struggle with something, okay? This is a professional sport, right? I say this over and over and over again. It's a professional sport. If you want any credibility in a professional sport, you need to act like it, okay? But do I
need to get the censor button ready?
You might. There's always going to be people that love you and people that hate you, right? There's fans of you and there are not fans of you, whatever you want. Haters, right? Laker fans don't like the Celtics, right? Jazz fans don't like anybody really, but point is that it's okay. People cheer against you. They boo when you shoot free throws in the NBA. They cheer when you fumble the ball in the NFL. Like this is how sports works, right? Why are all of these pros so in their damn feelings? Why when a fan yells something from the sidelines at a pro, do we have freaking Pablo going and sitting in the stands next to somebody so the guy doesn't talk anymore, and then Fed approaching the guy, I have it on video if anyone wants to see it, approaching the guy afterwards and getting in his face and telling him not to talk? Why do we have somebody that we both know yelling something at Julian as a fan, nothing else, and then not only does Julian turn around and berate this person, but Julian's girlfriend goes after her too after the fact and starts lighting her up? Right? Why is Travis Rettenmeyer turning around in the middle of a match with you and telling your sponsor, I can't believe you endorsed this mother effer, because he thought a ball hit you that didn't hit you, right? Why are these guys so in their freaking feelings? Like this is a sport. People are going to hate you. People are going to love you. And it's like, you can't cheer against them.
Yeah.
And they get so upset about it. It's so stupid. Like feed off of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know why that bothers me so much, but I just feel like it's okay. Like I don't like Julian Arnold. I don't think he's fun to watch. I think he's annoying. I think the Andiamos is the stupidest thing in the world. Like
he's not Italian, by the way.
it's just dumb. It's dumb to me. And that's okay.
Maybe he is, but I've heard he's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. Like it's okay that I don't like it. And it's okay that I don't like him. Right. It's okay that I don't think Annalie Waters is great to watch. Like, she is what she is. Like, that's okay. And then I have my favorite players that I enjoy watching, and vice versa. There's people that love her. There's people that love, nobody loves Rettenmeyer, but there's people that love these other players. Right. And that is okay. And you can rally behind your guy and cheer against somebody else. Like, that's how sports works. But all of these freaking pros get in their feelings about everything. They're like, oh, you're booing me, or, oh, you yelled at me and said I make bad calls. And then you're like approaching fan. Like, literally, what other sport do pros approach fans in the
wrong test?
Yeah. And look what happened to that. Right. Exactly. Like, that's just crazy to me. And it's like, guess what? If somebody hates you and they don't like you, at least that means they at least know who you are. Mm-hmm. So, embrace that, because most pickleball players, I promise you that you're walking down the street, nobody has any clue who you are.
Yeah.
And so it just is really a weird thing to me. I really struggle with that. I don't understand why they get so upset. Like, if I want to call you, get your censor button ready. But if I want to call somebody a little, then,
got it.
Is it appropriate? Maybe not. But also, like, it's okay if I cheer against you. Like, that's not that serious. Don't take it so personal. And
Seems like you're taking this personal.
It's just annoying. Like, stop being so babies about stuff. Like, seriously, come sit by me in the stands, Pablo. I'm here. It's just so dumb.
I would fully agree with that. To me, it's actually kind of funny because a lot of those players that you mentioned, they're the loudest ones on the court.
Exactly.
And then when somebody says something that they don't like, they completely lose it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like, for example, one of those players that you mentioned, like, they're literally one of the loudest ones on the court, and somebody was like cheering right before they hit the ball, and they were like looking in the crowd for who it was, and it's like, hey, you're the one who's screaming at the end of every single point.
Yeah.
And then you get mad when somebody does a small little hindrance during the point, or a little exclamation.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. What do you think about that? Do you think that points, should you be loud or quiet during points?
For me, I don't mind either way. I think I've said this before. I think there needs to be a little bit of a hybrid. I mean, you don't want it to be tennis or golf or anything like that. You want it to be fun. But like I said, there's some players that they say they want it to be fun, and then you get fans who are saying something right before they hit, and they get pissed about it.
Yeah.
And so I think there needs to be a hybrid. I mean, as long as I know what the expectation is, say, hey, fans can cheer, so be ready for that, or something like that. I think that's fine.
I need to bring up a point of yours that happened. Okay. So you were playing the Mad Drops. It was men's. Okay. And it's really funny because I've heard so many people that are like, oh my gosh, Tyler, I mean, he just gets to play with Ben. Like, he doesn't have to do anything. But go watch that match against the Mad Drops where you literally saw 90% of the balls. Mm-hmm. And somebody go say that Tyler doesn't have to do anything because they tried to isolate you. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. Okay. But I think it was Julian floated a ball to your backhand, mm-hmm. and it was up. And you heard the crowd literally let out this audible gasp. Like, you were like, oh crap, Tyler's going to flush this point over. Mm-hmm. And you just reset it. Okay.
Yeah.
Softly.
Okay.
First of all, put that ball away, Tyler.
Okay.
Second
of all, what was the score? Do you remember?
I don't remember. So maybe that matters.
Was it towards the end or in the beginning?
It was towards the end. Okay. So maybe that's why.
Okay.
And then
I might know which one you're talking about.
And in the crowd, like, when you just reset it, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And it was right in the middle of the point.
Yeah.
And it was really funny to me because the crowd like expected this huge, something.
Not happening.
Yeah. And even Adam Stone was like, said something like, that's just not Tyler's game, his backhand. Like, that's just not his game. Something like that. But does that distract you? Like, I don't know. Like, do you even notice that?
Not really. What do you mean? Like the comments or
the crowd, the comments? Yeah. Like, literally you could hear it on the live stream. Like, you heard the entire crowd go,
yeah. I mean, in the back of my head, like subconsciously. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really make that much of a difference.
Anyways, it was just pretty funny to me because it was like, it was just like everybody was on pins and needles, and then like they just expected
somebody should have just done a blowhorn right then.
Literally, yeah, they expected this, and then you just were like, "Oh, I'm going to reset this."
Yeah, we just wanted to keep it going for entertainment.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, MLP is awesome.
MLP, yeah. I mean,
are there too many events?
Well, it's hard to say because if you're just referring to MLP, there's only 6 events this year. So that, no. But if you combine it with PPA, for sure, there's way too many events.
Yeah.
Players, you're seeing it right now. There's a lot of players who are taking Denver off just because they want extra time to rest.
Yeah, Denver's going to suck because nobody wants to play in Denver.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, if I take Denver off, I can get a full month off.
Yes, but you look at it on the flip side, you're like, okay, all these top players are not playing yet. I might have a shot. I might have a shot. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Do I go steal a medal? That's true.
It's tricky, but yeah, I think there's way too many tournaments. I've always said this. I think there honestly should be 15 tournaments a year. I mean, even 15 is more than one a month.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be training, you've got to be preparing, and it takes time. Yeah. But if you combine PPA with MLP, I mean, you're looking at easily over 25 to 30 tournaments. Easily. Yeah. That's more than 2 a month if you average it out. And if you have 1 month off, then you're saying that's 2 to 3 a month.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, people have lives, they have families, they've got to rest. They've got to be prepared. I think it waters down the
Well,
product.
it did. It watered down the super finals. Like, it's on ESPN. It's pumped. Everybody's excited. And honestly, it wasn't a good showing.
Yeah, it was not a good showing.
It wasn't. I mean, yeah, it just wasn't exciting. It wasn't a good showing. It was, like, what would you want more than it to be 2-2 and go to Dream? Going 3-0 in the super
also,
finals.
MLP format. Well, in terms of they let us know when we're playing. So we're playing at 10 a.m. We're playing at 12 p.m. We're playing at 3, whatever. That is amazing. You know when to get there, what you should be doing before, what you should be doing afterwards. And with that said, I actually didn't see that many matches because I went there, I played, and then I left, or I went and relaxed.
You said that in the interview that you weren't going to
Yeah, I wasn't going to watch it.
You weren't going to watch. Oh, poor Cameron Blackwood didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
She literally didn't have a response to that. She was like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I mean, if PPA, because you're there, if you're winning, you're there all day.
Yeah.
Ben, Annalie, they're there from literally 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Every single day.
That's wild.
Just sitting around. With MLP, you're there for your matches, then you can leave.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, that's why all these people are dating other players because they need something to do.
Exactly.
There's a rumor out there that J-Dub's got a girlfriend.
I have not heard that one actually. Is it a player?
A player.
Would I know this person?
100%.
Are you going to put it on there or?
100%.
Who is it?
The rumor is J-Dub and Judith Castillo.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
You haven't? Wouldn't that be interesting?
They both speak Spanish fluently. So.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, right? You think that's why the real reason J-Dub's learning Spanish?
Maybe.
Nothing to do with Tardio? Actually has to do with Judith?
I haven't heard that rumor, but I'll have to ask him. I used to text him a lot, but I haven't talked to him too much.
Just find out. Okay?
Just shoot him a text.
Well, I just feel like J-Dub's dating life, it's got to be interesting. Like, it's got to be entertaining. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I took a picture with him and this fan, and it was so funny. It was a female.
Yeah.
And me and him were on either side of the girl. She was in the middle, and it was just so funny.
Yeah, see? I mean, he probably is not comfortable. But maybe like the language barrier makes him feel more comfortable. Doesn't get much more awkward than that. So,
yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Man, we could literally go on for another 2 hours if we wanted to.
Maybe next week we can talk season 2, who's going up, who's going down. I have opinions on that. Redraft. But
I mean, we talked about it. Quiet during points are loud. PPA, I don't know if they're just trying to get more data, but they've been sending out a bunch of questionnaires and polls and different stuff, different articles about should you be quiet or should you be loud during points?
Yeah, I think they're trying to decide what they want the sport to become. Do they want it to be this rowdy spectator sport, or do they want it to be like tennis? Yeah. Because the biggest thing is everybody doesn't want it to be tennis. There's that stupid pickleball tennis rivalry.
Yeah, they say that, and then when people cheer during their points, they get mad about that. That's the funniest thing to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. And all the fist pumping afterwards and screaming and yelling and it's just crazy. And like the trash talk, I've said this before, like I don't mind it, right? I think it's good, but then it's also like you got to be able to dish it out and take it at the same time.
if you're going to dish it out, you've got to be able to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing with a lot of these players. They're able to dish it, but as soon as somebody starts doing it back to them, they fall.
Yeah, exactly. So
James Ignatowicz, I love him. I'm actually playing a couple tournaments with him. I think he's a great player.
But he has confidence issues.
I don't know if he just instinctively does it, but he hit a great shot, passing shot. It was a little bit lucky in mixed doubles, I think. And he said, wait a second, right afterwards. And it kind of bothered my whole team.
Yeah.
And so after he played a couple more points, I kept saying, wait a second, when he would miss a shot.
Yeah. See?
And so if you're going to dish it out, you've just got to be able to hand it back. Me personally, I normally don't start anything. I'll never back down from something, but I'll rarely start trash talking.
Yeah.
But I'll never back down from it.
I think I love, it's truly like, I respect the guys that run their mouth no matter what. They're down 5-10. Or
I don't know anybody that does that. Even Jeff Warnick, if he's losing, he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody that will run their mouth when they're losing.
I do. If I'm down 110 and I'm serving, every time I say 110 run instead of 110-1, because I let them know I'm coming. I'm coming for you right now. I never stop.
The exit.
I never stop.
Yeah.
You got to have that confidence.
You slow down when I start nasty Nelsoning you.
Don't. The next time you nasty Nelson me will be the first time. Okay.
Oh, please. I've gotten you multiple times.
Well, I don't move well in my old age. Mm-hmm. Anyways, what should we do? Questions?
Yeah. We're already at 110. Let's run into questions. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to Jimmy. If you have any spam or anything, just reach out to this guy.
Send it to me. I did have a couple of questions. I think I asked you most of them. People had questions about if you knew that you were playing Annalie. They had questions about.
But Ben, going back to that, Ben is 10,000 IQ. He had each player. I asked him because a lot of people were saying, did he do that strategically or was that always going to be the game plan? Ben, Tyler, Meg, Etta. And so I asked him that and he said he did it strategically.
Yeah, that makes
he
sense.
paired each person up with the opponent, knowing the opponent's weakness.
Have we ever shared Meg's story?
What about her story?
Can I
What do you
share
mean?
Meg's story real quick? So
We love talking about Meg. She's going to love hearing this one.
Meg's great. So I was playing. So there's this huge thing in Utah called King of the Court. You can talk about all these other places that play pickleball, but I promise you, Utah is the pickleball mecca. Say whatever you want. Come out here. We'll prove it to you. So it's called King of the Court, not King of the Court podcast.
Over 800 members of that group.
Yes. And they get together every morning. This was 3 years ago. And they get together every morning at like 5 a.m. Literally, they have like this full spreadsheet and they keep track of every single stat, every game. There's this facility that has 16, 18 courts and they use the entire facility. They get there when the sun comes up. And yeah, essentially, obviously, you win, you move up, you lose. You know how King of the Court works. You lose, you move down. But new players end up starting at the bottom unless somebody can vouch for you and say, oh, I know them. They're this level. Then they'll try to slide you in the middle. So one day I'm playing. Obviously, I'm on the top court because that's where I lived. Pretty much camped out on that top court. Called it Jimmy's court. And I look over and I see this girl and she's on one of the bottom courts and she's ripping forehands, ripping them at people. And there's those bottom courts. I'd say the lowest level that shows up to this, at least back then, was probably in the 4-0 range. And she's ripping forehands past these 4-0s and right at them. And there's a couple ladies on the court and she's just destroying them. And I was like, dang, this girl's going to be freaking good.
That was the first time you've ever seen her?
First time I ever saw her. And then she never came back. Literally never saw her again. So fast forward a couple months later and you're hosting your tournament, Summer 11.
Summer 11, baby.
Which
2020.
we're not doing this anymore? Is it gone?
Not this year. Next year we are.
Okay, so
we're
Summer
taking
11.
a quick pause.
Tyler used to host this tournament called Summer 11. It actually was a big tournament, super fun. And so Kim is playing, her and Ty Pamaloza are playing against this girl, Meg, and Eddie Mora. I remember this. I'm watching the match and Ty and Kim beat them 15-1. Okay. But I'm watching and I was like, that's that girl from King's Court a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. And again, they got destroyed, but I'm like, man, she's freaking good. Like you can tell that she's going to be good. So it ends, mixed is over. That night I'm talking to you and you were like, hey, we need more women to play. And so I remember you asked Kim, you said, hey, can we get, do you want to play in women's tomorrow? You said you didn't have enough women in the 4-5, 5-0 bracket. And so she's like, yeah, I'll see if I can find a partner. So she says, hey, I think I'm going to text that girl that I played earlier. And I was like, the one that you beat 15-0, 15-1. And she's like, yeah, I think she's pretty good. So she texts her. They don't know each other at all. It's Meg. And Meg literally says, oh, I don't know if I can. I was actually going to play 3-5 with my neighbor the next morning. And her neighbor's like, I think she was an older lady. And Kim was like, you can't play 3-5. Like, I don't think you understand. And I don't think Meg really knew. Like, obviously she knows ratings because she played tennis.
Yeah.
But I don't think she really knew how good she was. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I'll play with you. So they end up playing together. They win. So you ended up combining 4-5, 5-0. They win it, win the 4-5, go undefeated. The only loss that they had was Susanna Barr and Kelly Burke. And they played them pretty tough. I mean, that's not a bad loss, Susanna Barr, right? And that was the only loss that they had. And then after that, it was like, I think Meg realized, okay, I'm actually pretty good at this. Sky's the limit for me. And yeah, fast forward 2 years and she's
MLP champ, MVP
she's
champ.
an MLP MVP. But Meg was about to play 3-5 in a tournament, in your first tournament.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, there's Meg. Like I said, we know Meg. I feel like she's my discovery. On the next episode, I'll tell you how I discovered Edda. I should be a pickleball scout, just saying. Anyways, moving on to questions.
All right, we're going to go through these fairly quickly. All right, I can't believe I'm reading this. This is Lucia's question. She says, we know Jimmy is the funniest on the pod. Interesting. How long till he's the best on the court? It's going to be a while.
Wait a minute. How am I already not?
I don't know what court you're talking about. It's going to be a while.
Court of Law, maybe.
Yeah. All right, Matt Mayfield, who I love, super nice guy. He works with PPA. Do you miss the 8 a.m. start times? Definitely not. No. 10 a.m. is perfect.
Which is wild because you're an early riser, though, dude.
I am. I'm up at 5 every morning.
I know you are because I get texts from you and I'm like, bro, let me sleep.
Yeah. I'm up early, but 8 a.m. start time is too early. Why did Megan throw her paddle? Was Big H being a butt? Meg, actually, Hayden did say something to her after she missed a shot earlier in the match, I think. And I think it kind of bothered her. And so she picked up the ball and threw it to the other corner.
Yeah, she actually she held it and she stared for a minute and then she hit it back to him super hard to the corner, which I've never seen her do. You don't see Meg lose her cool like that very often.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was just an intense match. And from this last MLP, me and her, we didn't have much success in mixed doubles. And so I think we were just really wanting to win that match.
But guess what? Who got the last laugh? Meg versus Hayden in singles.
There you go. How come the super final was played so close to the final? That's just the way that it was scheduled for. Moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed that. Does Matt Wright really use Rogaine?
100%. You don't think he does?
I don't know.
It's not working if he does, but I'm sure he does.
Somebody said, is Julian Arnold as big of a not nice word as he seems on TV?
Yes, of course he is. I'll tell you right now, he is. Yes.
Since Jimmy knows him so well.
I don't even need to know him. You can tell.
All right, I have a genuine question for you.
Okay.
There's so many people who say, oh, this person only acts this way on the court. Off the court, they're nice. Or they truly do that. They truly are that way. They go crazy on the court, they cheat, or they just scream, or whatever it is. But off the court, they're super nice, super friendly. What do you think about those people?
I think that's bullcrap because I think that when you're under the pressure of a game like that, right, and you're in your emotions, that's when your true colors come out.
But they're so nice off the court.
Yeah, well, guess what? Then you need to get your freaking emotions in check because I think that's when your true colors come out. That's who you truly are.
Okay.
Because if you're put in that intense situation at home, is that the guy that slaps his wife? Let's be real, right? I know that's very harsh, but I'm just saying,
I would agree with you, but there's so many people who say that, oh, they just act that way on the court.
Crap.
Or they just act that way when they're competing or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, it's if you have to act that way in those situations, then I don't think that's right. I mean, Roger Federer, how often have you seen him act the way that a lot of these other players act?
Yeah.
Nadal, he doesn't act that way.
No.
Djokovic, they rarely act this way.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need that. We all get emotional at times and we all get upset at times. But when it's every single time you step on the court,
exactly,
that's the biggest difference. And if you need that to pump you up, fine. whatever.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be pumped up, and it's another thing
pump-
to be a jerk.
Exactly. And that's a fine line, and pump yourself up,
Yeah.
right? Without going at your opponent. Yeah. And that's what I mean. And like the standing literally at the net and the screaming
Yeah.
and the pointing and the like, bro, chill out. And honestly, like, you know, and I know
I have no idea who you're referring
well,
to.
I'm going to talk about Julian Arnold. Like, dude, you're not that good. Okay. Like, chill out. Like, know who you are, know your place in the pickleball world. Just accept the fact that you're lucky that you get to play pickleball for a living. Because honestly, you're not that good. And if it was any other pro sport, you would still be in the minor leagues. So just
I'll say last year he had a pretty good year last year.
what's he
This
done
year,
this year?
he hasn't had as much success,
do we
but
blame Lolo?
recently he's
Should we
been
blame
doing well.
Lolo? Should we blame Lolo Stratman for that?
Lauren's great.
he
Gotta
got-
love Lolo.
Does he got those sea legs now?
Sea legs. What are those?
Just saying, some late nights with Lauren.
Oh, gotcha. Did Ben and Emily not want to play each other in the Dream Breaker? I don't think it was that. I think it was just more strategic. They thought other people would do better against their other
I actually
lineup.
think had you swapped you and Ben and you played James and it would have been the same result. I really think it would have been the same. You would have waxed James and Ben would have waxed Annalie.
You are a great example for my son. Thank you.
I assume that's me.
No.
Was that directed at me?
No. Me. These are questions on my Instagram.
100%. Did she tag me in that?
No.
You are
Thank you.
a great example.
That is very nice.
You're a great example, Tyler.
What's y'all planned for the future of the pod? Anything special planned? As long
When
as
are we going to get guests?
as long as Jimmy doesn't get us kicked off. I got a new microphone, and so we can do one more, or we can call in people with this.
Let's call in.
We need to get Leia and Tyra on soon, like within the next week.
Yeah.
And then George wants to come in, and we can do something with him. So
Yeah,
we're going
let's
to do it real soon.
Yeah, Leia told me she's ready. She just said, "Tell me when," and obviously Tyra will come on whenever. We can get whoever we want. Let's get everybody on. Let's just freaking go.
Let's get Alshon on.
Let's do it. If you're gonna play with him, let's get him on.
I actually like him. I think he's hilarious.
Great. I will. That will be a very fun podcast.
All right.
As long as he's very aware of what I'm going to ask him.
What are both of y'all's favorite shot in pickleball? Ernie. Making the ball over the net. Is that your favorite shot?
I mean, honestly, anything that goes over the net's a good shot for me. But there's a video of me driving a ball past Tyler that I really need to get my hands on at the Pickler.
The one that went way out? Is that the one
No,
you're
the
referring
Pickler
to?
Grand Opening that an absolute missile right past you.
Yeah, that was out by like 10 feet.
No,
it hit
I
the
will
back
get-
wall before it hit the
Hey,
ground.
I will get the video. And yeah, we'll just see.
All right, before pickleball, what were you guys doing? Jimmy, what were you doing?
So I do mortgages. I'm a mortgage broker. So maybe we should, maybe I should sponsor the pod myself. So anyone needs a mortgage, I'm licensed in all 50 states. Hit me up. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I'll help you out.
All right.
There you go.
That actually does make sense. If you want to get to know Jimmy a little bit better,
Shameless plug.
hit him up. He'll get you the massive rates of 6.5% right now.
Calm down.
Yeah. All right. What
did
was
you
I
do,
doing?
Tyler?
I
What
was
were you doing?
so I was in a very unique, fortunate situation. I had just come back from a 2-year church mission, and I was in school at college, and I started playing pickleball, and I've done pickleball full time ever
But
since.
you
then.
do have a real estate license.
I do have a real estate license. There's a lot of other things I do on the side. I like crypto. I like stocks. I like NFTs.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was the Dink or one of the other podcasts talked about you and how basically you and Ben are the two guys that are very good on the business side of pickleball.
Yeah, I don't know what people are saying, but I enjoy doing other things. I like collecting these bear bricks, as you can see. I like
Had you won super finals, would you have bought another one?
I would have bought a bigger one. Yeah,
You would have?
Yeah,
You know what your wife told me she wanted?
a ring or something, jewelry.
She said that
We have to return it now.
She said that you owed her a ring if you won.
Yeah.
I asked if she wanted a matching.
The
Tesla.
budget went from $500 down to $200 now.
Yeah, I asked if she wanted a matching Tesla, and she said no. I want a ring. Finally, putting a ring on her after 7 years. Good job, Tyler.
Somebody said, great job this weekend. That's very nice. It feels a little bit weird because we did win. We actually won MLP in San Clemente, but then we lost the super final, which is very depressing. And so it feels like we lost both things, but we actually won. And so that's still something to be proud of, I guess.
Yeah, and you walked away with a decent chunk of change. Not bad.
I didn't see this, but
Not as much as
somebody
I
said,
read.
why were Nunnery Dow so mad that you guys won? I I get nunnery, but their faces were very angry. I didn't see their faces, so not sure.
I mean, Nunnery had the ultimate flex sitting right behind your bench with his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's a bold, ballsy flex by Rob Nunnery.
Best advice for lefties. Own your strengths. Develop a strong forehand. Keeping that forehand in the middle. You're lefty, so everything you do is going to be 100% different than a righty. And so people are generally going to be inclined to hit to your forehand because it's going to normally be a righty's backhand. So get used to that. Take advantage of that and just really hone in on developing a power, a weapon. Anything else for lefties?
I mean, I'm not a lefty, but there's a really funny, speaking of James Ignatowicz and Anna Bright, they're doing a clinic with ERA pickleball or something, and they posted this picture. And they were like, come to the most electrifying woman in sports, which is so stupid that people are using that still. And then it said, and then also learn from the guy with the fastest hands in pickleball, which again, not true. But the picture of both of them, and I'll send it, and maybe they'll post it. They're both left-handed in the picture. They literally are both playing left-handed. Like it's the weirdest thing. So maybe Ben Johns is right, and that's the future of pickleball.
Somebody said, need more of Jimmy's dark side of pickleball takes. I don't think we need more of that. We're going to get canceled.
No, but there's not a lot. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot. I mean, there's always stuff going on. But, you know, I will not hold back when it comes to those things. But I also, you know, there's some stuff that like.
There's some stuff we don't say.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there that we don't say and we don't, you know, but. I think that we're just we're going to be pretty honest about things. I mean, we're going to be pretty honest about how people act. We're going to be honest about, you know, just the whole sport in general. And yeah, there's certain things that come up. I mean, was it Lisa Namu that literally like tried to stab someone for a fur coat? Like there's crazy stuff out there. So
we're bleeping that out for sure. Somebody said,
are you friends with her? Do you know her?
Oh yeah. I know pretty much everybody in the pickleball world. I've been playing one of the longest out there.
Interesting.
All right. Somebody said, how do certain pros who have beef avoid each other at PPA and MLP tournaments when off court? It's pretty simple. They just don't engage with that person. They just won't walk towards that person. If they do have to see them, they'll just not really talk to them.
You guys aren't all buddy in the players' lounge.
No, I mean most of us are, but there's a couple people out there that don't.
Like who's your? I'm going to ask you two questions. Okay, you need to be really honest. Okay. Okay. Who would you never play with? Number one. And then who would you call your best friend on tour?
You're putting me on the spot. I don't even know. I'm not going to say the person, but his name was probably brought up in this podcast that I would not play with.
Okay.
And then who's my best friend?
Or closest friend?
Friend. I don't know. I mean, I enjoy Callan. He's super nice. Spencer Smith, I'm friends with. I've known him for a very long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I'm fairly close with.
Hang out with the most.
Yeah. I mean, Leia's hilarious to talk to. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I'm friends with most of the players and I'll have pretty surface level conversations with most of them.
That makes sense. That's fair.
All right, for Jimmy, how many Hayden-sized Christian Alshons could he take in a fight at once?
Hayden size? I mean, that would be easy. Like, yeah. By the way, I just want to say this about Hayden, okay? So the Fives had a team dinner. I'm just going to throw this out there. And Hayden brought me up at the team dinner. Hayden, shout out. And he said that he thought I was very, very funny. And he actually likes me.
He gets it.
Hayden gets it. Hayden does not take it personal. Hayden thinks it's funny. Hayden has sent me a couple of tweets. Like Hayden gets it. He is a very good sport. I'm a huge fan. He's a little guy, but I'm still a big fan of Hayden.
Big fan.
So Big H, props to you for getting it.
I'm in conversations with him to play a couple tournaments as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always fun to play with your son. So yes, Hayden, thank you for understanding and for getting it. And for having a paddle that's bigger than your entire body. Also, the white is cheap, Hayden. Get rid of the white.
White paddles, ban them.
So
every one of them.
So, there was a story that happened. Here's a little inside information, not really inside, but when the Fives played the Mad Drops, okay, to play you guys, Papa Waters, they said on the broadcast that Papa Waters said something to Julian Arnold, like made a comment to him. And they're like, oh gosh, that's something that we better watch. I guess Julian was complaining about Hayden's paddle, saying that he couldn't see the ball off of Hayden's white paddle. But Annalie's dad thought that he was complaining about Annalie's paddle. And so he starts screaming, her paddle's legal. Her paddle's legal. But he wasn't even talking about Annalie's paddle. So that's why parents need to shut up and sit in the stands and know your role. Okay?
All right. Do you use a backhand or forehand more when doing an Ernie on the rides? 99% of the time I'm doing a forehand. I'm jumping to the side of my backhand. That's why I'm doing the Ernie, is to get more power.
Why do you do that, though? Because, like, you kept going for him and then you weren't getting him.
Man. This is dragging on. Yeah, that was a funny comment. Somebody in the comment section posted a question about, Tyler keeps going for these Ernies and they're not there. He's giving me anxiety or something like that.
Yeah, like, why does he jump for them when he knows he's not going to get them? Why is he attempting? Why doesn't he wait? And it's like, bro, shut up.
It's like Ben is by far the best player at this time in pickleball, and he's known my game for a long time. I've been doing this for 10 years or so. Ben didn't once tell me to not do it.
Well, you know, it's cool to say you've been doing it less than you've actually been doing it, right?
Yeah, I've only been doing this for 3 or 4 years.
Speaking of Alshon, that's like the only funny tweet he's ever sent when he said that. But then he turned around and said, "Oh, I just hit my 1 year mark of playing pickleball." Like, dude, shut up.
Yeah. How often do you play ALW in singles? You beat her. That was actually the first time I've ever played against her in singles, even hitting. I haven't even practiced with her in singles. So it was a little bit interesting. I think both of us a little bit nervous or interested just to see how that first ball is hit. And then after that, it kind of loosens up. But always the first few points of any game or match are going to be a little bit interesting. Did you not like Cameron's question about you and Megan struggling? I didn't mind it. I mean, we win as a team, we lose as a team. As bad as this sounds, I didn't really.
Bro, I thought you guys were honestly really classy, like, all things considered. You stayed, you went and shook their hands.
Yeah.
Like, you told them good job. Like, there's a lot of people that wouldn't have reacted that same way, especially if after a dude's yelling in your face the entire time.
Is J-Dub normally so efficient versus James Ignatowicz? Dreambreaker was a smackdown. I think James might have a little bit of a block against JW just because I think James started playing with JW, and at the time JW was like way, way, way up here. And so whenever you grow up playing with somebody and they're up here, you always have a different perception on them.
Well, and you know those Delray Beach people,
Those
right?
Delray Beach people are different.
They're just getting, like, good in a hurry, if you know what I mean. We don't know why, but...
What's it like playing with Ben Johns? Does it help to see strengths versus weaknesses? It's definitely fun. I mean, I said this in my tweet the other day. Any team, any person playing with Ben, they're going to have a huge advantage to begin with. He's just so solid. He really doesn't do too much flashy shots. He'll rarely speed up. He rarely takes stuff out of the air and rips it. He's just so methodical. Just very consistent, rarely misses. I think in one of the matches they said that he was 100% on the third shot drops, which was great. But with that being said, I mean, you do have a lot of pressure because you're expected to win. If you don't win, it's all your fault.
Well, that's the thing. If you win, it's because of him. If
Exactly.
you lose, it's because of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like playing Annalie in singles. It's lose-lose for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's great because you get the wins and you make a lot of money and you do all these things. Like somebody told me that, it was kind of funny. They told me that, like, you guys don't even know who your owner is for the Pioneers. I mean, you know who they are, but you didn't hear from your owner at all.
Exactly.
Right. But they were like, our owner put us up in the Waldorf Astoria for, 5 days for MLP. And then they were like, but honestly, they get to play with Ben. So it more than evens out. They're going to make plenty of money.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of an interesting perspective, is everybody would trade whatever they're getting to play with Ben.
Yeah. Agreed. I fully agree. It was very fortunate to play with Ben. And the only thing I would say is I would love to play with him in a traditional scoring tournament, in a PPA
you
or
hear
something
that,
like
Ben?
that. We were actually supposed to play in like 3 or 4 tournaments in 2020, but then COVID hit and it messed up all the tournaments. And so we were actually supposed to play in a couple. But
Well, Ben, if Colin ever, pulls out of a tournament, call Tyler. He will drop whoever just to play with you.
But I've always said this.
Especially if it's Alshon.
Not only is it because I'm lefty, but I think our styles really complement each other.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have proven it. You guys lost one match.
Yep.
right? Did you lose only one together?
We lost two the entire MLP season. One of them was insanely close. It was against BLQK on a far court when it was windy. They won like 21-19, 22-20, something like that. And then we ended up playing them again in the finals, and we beat them.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. But, I mean, MLP, like, anything can happen there. Anything can happen there.
That's what I'm saying. You only lost 2 in rally scoring. Like, if you guys were to play a traditional 2 out of 3, I don't think anybody beats you.
Yeah. I think Ben, where I added value to the MLP team was not doubles. I mean, Ben's going to win with most people that he plays with. It was mixed doubles.
Yeah.
And people always compare me with Colin because Colin was still on the board. Where I think I have an edge over Colin is not doubles or even singles. It's mixed doubles.
Yeah, I would say mixed for sure. Colin's not a good mixed doubles player. Like it's just
he's actually a good singles player. He's a very good singles player.
And he was a better tennis player than Ben, right? Like yes. I mean he was I think I want to say
for sure. He was much better
a
than
little
Ben.
bit of a pro, cup of coffee on the pro tour kind of. But yeah, I agree. I mean, Colin's just not a good mixed. There's just guys that just aren't good at mixed, and Colin's one of them, and it's okay. But he's just not good at it. So Ed has stopped playing with him. Callan Dawson. If your name is Colin or Callan, mixed is not your thing, and that's okay.
Yeah. In light of this weekend, thoughts on Hayden Petrokin? I'm not sure if you're referring to his behavior or his play.
I think his size. It's always about his size, his ego.
Same size as before.
He literally said the hand of God. Did you hear that? Oh yeah, because you didn't watch.
Oh, he said something to me and Megan, which I don't think Megan liked. He hit a ball in the middle, and I don't know. I think Megan maybe missed it, maybe I did. And he said, "I own the middle." And then like 1 or 2 points later, I said, I tripped back at him. I said, "You own the middle, huh, Hayden?" So
he got interviewed after.
He said that in the interview.
In the interview, he gets interviewed, and they said, Hayden, like you're just playing so well, blah blah blah. And he said it's really hard not to play well when you have the hand of God.
What match was that?
I think it was their one of their semis. I think it was the semis.
So against the Masters probably against Matt Wright's team.
It was after he played Matt, and he's like, it's really hard not to play well. And he holds up his hand when you have the hand of God. And I was like, oh shoot, Hayden.
Who's your favorite player to body bag? This guy, of course.
Always.
Will we see more body bags in professional tournaments ever?
I mean, I think so. Eventually.
Why? Just free point, or
I think the game is getting. I think the game's getting faster. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But do you mean like more like?
I was referring to Nasty Nelsons.
Oh, Nasty Nelsons.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't. I don't know why somebody doesn't take a chance on that.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Zane Affleck got to bring him back.
Like I don't know why someone doesn't take a chance, especially with how big the pros serve, how hard their serve is, and the fact of the matter is nobody's expecting it. Will you do that in your next tournament?
No.
Will you try it?
No. Professional tournaments, I've never even attempted it.
Do you think
play, I do it all the time.
Do you think that it's uncouth?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty poor form.
Is it poor form?
Yeah.
But you do it to me.
Yeah, that's rec play. You play in a pro tournament, maybe I'll do it. Maybe you'll be the first one I do it to.
Why won't you let me play with you?
All right. Anything else? This was super long.
Partner for Denver. Can I play with you?
Gosh. This was super long. We might even do another one this week just to put something out there because there's so much. I wanted to get into the real clear stats. They released some posts about some of the MLP matches, which were pretty interesting.
Let's get a guest and get into that. Anyways,
we'll get
this
George.
is long. Okay.
Once again, thanks for our sponsorships. Picklershop.com. Check them out. Your one-stop shop for all things pickleball. Modballs.com. You will not regret it. I literally had somebody message me as we were recording this and said, I love Modballs. I can't believe it's taken me so long. Use code LOONG10, LOONG10, and then this new ball, Crown Pickleball. Check them out. They are very durable. You shook the camera. It's going to be shaky footage now.
That's actually impressive.
They are cheap, affordable, and they are going to last, and they play very good. We're going to be using this ball this week to give it our thoughts. Anyways, thanks again. Make sure to tune in, and we will see you next time.